Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be shamelessly stealing a video idea from Shawol360 and I will link her original video down below. But basically this is a guide of sorts to collecting Girls' Generation. So when Shawol360 did it, she did it for Shiny, obviously, who's her bias group. And so I thought it would be fun to kind of do something similar for Girls' Generation, who's my bias group. So the first question that I think is important to consider when collecting Girls' Generation is, which do you like better? Do you like cute Soshi better, or do you like dark and modern sort of Soshi better? And so I think that's going to kind of dictate whatever you would want to start with in your first album. So if you like cute Girls' Generation the best, then I would recommend you actually buy their very first album, which is called Girls' Generation. It has like a weird doll concept, but what you get on this one is a pretty solid track of stuff. You get Girls' Generation, which is great, Baby Baby, Kissing You, Honey, which is kind of all their promoted stuff. You also get Into the New World, their debut single. And then the other kind of B-sides on this, Ooh La La, Merry Go Round, Tears, Twinkle Bell, those are all really nice songs, and so I think this is a good one to start with if you're into the cute Soshi. If you prefer the darker Soshi, I would probably recommend going with Mr. Mister, which is their fourth mini album. What's great about this one is it's actually a really solid mini end-to-end, and the track list is there, maybe? No. Anyway, the track list is a mix of things, but you get Mr. Mister, you get Europa, which I think is a pretty solid like ballady song. You also get Soul, which is a song they did for like a video game series, but is also a great song on its own. So this would be my dark Girls' Generation or recommendation if that's what you like the best. If you're looking to get music for cheap, generally Girls' Generation music is relatively inexpensive, just like their albums that are printed all the time pretty much in Korea, so that would probably be my first recommendation. Just buy a Korean album, whatever Korean album, maybe one that has your favorite single, maybe the most recent one. That stuff is usually a pretty normal price. The time it gets weird is when you're buying singles or Japanese stuff, which we'll get to in a minute, but that's generally when it gets more expensive. So if you're looking for something cheap, really anything is fine, honestly, from the Korean standpoint. Now, if you have the monies to spend, my recommendation would be to somehow magically track down all 10 copies of I Got a Boy, which is their fourth full-length album. I have here the group edition because I could not decide who I wanted to buy, and so I just bought the group one. What's great about this particular album is that it's actually a really solid album. It was one of my favorites until their most recent one came out. But every single version, each member got their own version. So if you have a particular favorite in Girls' Generation, this is also probably a must-buy if you can find your biases version. The photo book is great. The group version is also really nice. You kind of get a little bit of everybody, but this is a great one if you have the money and can buy them because the photo books are really nice and everyone looks really good. Or if you have a mega bias in Girls' Generation, this would probably be the one to buy because then you can just get a photo book of that particular girl. And also the music is good, so that's a nice bonus there. For my particular favorite concept of Girls' Generation, not so much from a music but from a photo book standpoint, it has to be Hoot, which is their third mini album, and they kind of went with this like Bond spy theme. So you got these really nice postcards of everyone where they kind of have like a fun like spy movie poster theme, and then they just kind of have like a normal sort of photo book. And I just love this photo book. I think it is the best. I think these spy poster things are so fun. So if you want a photo book or you want to get an album that just kind of has a fun concept, then this would be the one that I would get. I don't think Hoot, to be honest, has the best track list. Hoot is a good song, and I know a lot of people like Snowy Wish, but I don't know. This one wasn't my favorite, so from an album standpoint, but it's the best concept, I think, or at least the most fun, so I would get that if you want a fun sort of concept. If you are just into Girls' Generation for the visuals, if you just think these girls are like the most beautiful, most attractive women on earth, then the one that you gotta buy is Mr. Taxi. This is their repackage of their third album, The Boys, and as you can tell from the cover, they all look very nice. You get all the music from The Boys and you get one bonus track of Mr. Taxi, but really what you're paying for is these postcards in which everybody just looks great. A+, you get a nice close-up shot and a back shot, and if you're into Soshi for the visuals, then that's probably what you're going to want to buy. So that's Mr. Taxi there. If you want fun packaging, just like interesting packaging, if that's kind of what you're like whatever about Girls' Generation to a certain extent, you think the music is fine in general, and you're interested just in getting something that has a cool packaging for your collection, then I would recommend getting The Boys because it's a tin case, which is fun. The concept for the photos is really nice too. It's kind of a fairy tale theme. And The Boys itself, which I don't think has the track list anywhere on it, is actually like a pretty solid album too. The title track is probably one of the weaker ones on the album, actually. This is the album that has Trick, which is arguably one of the best Girls' Generation songs that did not, from a Korean release, that did not get a music video. So yeah, if you want just like a fun packaging kind of thing, this is what I would recommend for that one. Oh. And then if you could only buy one Girls' Generation album, you can only afford one, you only can get one, and you just don't have a particular criterion you're trying to meet, from a Korean standpoint, I'd recommend getting their latest release, which is Lionheart. This is obviously their first release post Jessica's departure. It was a really great album. The only 2 tracks that I don't think are particularly good are Party, and that's not even that bad, to be honest. And I also really didn't like Showgirls, but some people like Showgirls. Everything on this album is really good. It's a great album. There's 2 versions of it, so if you don't like this kind of like 50s look that they went for, you could get the You Think version, which is an interesting kind of photo book. But yeah, this was a great album. And like I said, it's their most recent release, so you'll kind of at least be up to date. And I know a lot of people say in their collection recommendation videos that you should get their most recent release, so it kind of just depends on what your goal is with Girls' Generation. If you really want to collect everything, pretty much the Korean stuff is pretty easy to get. The only thing that's hard to get are the different versions of I Got a Boy, as well as their singles, like their limited edition singles, so this is probably a good place to start there. And then if you can only get one Japanese album, the one I would recommend from a music standpoint that I think has the best music personally is their second release, Girls in Peace. I can't show you the track list, unfortunately, because of the way this is particularly structured, but this I think had the best music. Let's take a look at the track list here. Yeah, this one has Flower Power, which is great. Top is great. There's a Japanese version of O, which is actually a really good release. Paparazzi is really good. All My Love Is For You is really good. I'm a Diamond, Reflection, Animal, really all of these are great. Even the ballads are great, and I'm not a big ballads fan. So this is the one I would recommend, their second Japanese album. If you just are getting one Japanese album, that is the one that's probably worth the most of your time. And just while we're in Japan in general, if you can only get one album overall, you're like, I want one Girls' Generation album, I want the best music possible for that album choice, then you probably want to get Girls' Generation's first Japan album, which I think is called Girls' Generation. The reason you want to get this one, if you're only ever going to get one Girls' Generation album over this one from a Japan standpoint, is that you get pretty much like a bunch of new stuff that's all really good, and then you also get essentially like the greatest hits of Girls' Generation. So you get Run Devil Run, you get G, you get Genie, you get Hoot, you get all the like classic Girls' Generation songs, plus a lot of really good original Japanese music. So like I said, if you're only going to get the one overall ever, your one Girls' Generation album, this is probably the one you want to get. It's important to note about this one. There is a repackage of this, which is unfortunately called The Boys, which is just not confusing with anything else. What's important to know about this version and why I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting this one is this only has the remix version of Bad Girl on it, arguably one of the better SNSD Japanese songs. So if you want the original non-remix version, you should get this one. If you want The Boys in Japanese for some reason and don't mind about the remix, then get this one. This one is slightly harder to get, so I would just stick with getting the original Japanese one. And then finally, solos and subunits. There isn't a million things of this right now. There's only one subunit, which is Taeyeon, who have three minis right now. The one I would recommend if you're only going to get one, I'd recommend Holler. I think it had the best photo book, it had the best title track in my opinion, and I think overall this album is just more stronger and has held up better for me at least than Twinkle did. Twinkle I really liked when it came out, but it kind of quickly, what's the right word? I don't know, it's not as good to me anymore. This has definitely stayed the test of time. Their other mini, Dear Santa, is just too Christmassy for me to want to listen to it all the time, so I can't actively recommend it to you. Although it's not a bad release either. And then finally for solos, there's only 3 solo albums out right now. Jessica has one, Tiffany has one, and Taeyeon has one. And of the 3, I think Taeyeon's is probably the best one to get. The reason I say that is because it has a nice mix of music. So, sorry about that. So Tiffany's album, while nice, is also very EDM heavy, everything is kind of similar in terms of the sound. So if you really like that kind of style of music, maybe that's the one you want to go with. But what I like about Taeyeon's over that is that it has a variety of music. It has some classic Taeyeon ballads. It has like a nice kicky sort of upbeat song. Oh, where's the track list? Is it here? Yes. With Stress is really fast and fun. I is a great title track. You get, like I said, a nice ballad in Gemini and You Are and Farewell. And I just think this has a little bit more going on. Jessica's album definitely has variety, certainly in it. I just don't think it's quite, from an album standpoint, quite as strong as Taeyeon's. So that's why I would recommend hers. So yeah, there is my recommendation of stuff to kind of get your Girls' Generation collection started, or if you're only interested in kind of collecting certain areas of Girls' Generation, my recommendations. I'm always happy, of course, to answer any other questions if you have any about collecting SNSD, or like where you should start, or just have any, you know, should I buy this version? Is this version the same as this version? I'm happy to help with any of that. But hopefully this is interesting for you, so thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye! Oh, wait, one other thing. I am going to be out of town for like a month for a work thing, so I may not be posting a lot of videos. I may not post a video at all. So just know I haven't disappeared. I am going to come back. There will be something. I may have one video go up or something, or try to upload something while I'm gone, but I just wanted to let you know I do plan on coming back, so please stick around, keep subscribed to me if you are. But yeah, anyway, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys are doing great, and hopefully I'll see you soon with a new video. Bye!